Hello and welcome everyone, I am Madals and welcome to another StarCraft 2 England cast today. Game 2 of a best of 3. It is between CuteZerg, the blue Protoss player in the lower right position, and Revival, the red Zerg in the top left. That means it's a PvZ. Game 1 went to Revival with some really solid play. It was a proper macro game for both players, not much aggression going on in the slightest. A bit from Revival on the way through, but eventually he just steamrolled his opponent with a great Roachling Corruptor Infestor Force and was just like, yeah, you've got some Colossi, but I got loads of Corruptors, I'm just going to come and kill you. And after which point, he didn't actually end the game there, but he did get some Broodlords out as a result of that, and then the Broodlord Force really put an end to anything CuteZerg was trying to do. But it was solid play, so I'm not going to rule CuteZerg out of this series quite yet. I'm thinking that it could go for a 2-1. It could be 2-0 though, because Revival is a very, very good player by all accounts, and as a result, someone like CuteZerg might run into some problems. And I'm not actually sure if CuteZerg is a nickname or a Smurf account or anything like that for a pro player, but his game was pretty solid, so it's not a whitewash by any means. Now, in terms of build order on Ahana, for Revival it's pretty obvious. A 14 or 15 pool, he favours 14. He'll then go into an expansion, the natural, quick third, because, well, pylon down here, you can get away with Nexus first super comfortably. And especially with that early probe scout, seeing the timing of the spawning pool, I'm definitely thinking the CuteZerg is going to chuck down a Nexus first. He knows he's not under aggression from early pools or anything like that. And as a result, can just go Nexus first and get a slightly better economy, and he is certainly safe to do so. So, not something that I would be worried about, especially Ahana. It's quite a long map, you've got an easy to defend ramp and get that wall off down there, so yeah, good moves so far for these two. Revival yet again taking his third base first because CuteZerg is, well, patrolling his natural, and as a result, that would take a while to kill off. That probe would be irritating, so if I'm going to get 3 bases anyway, might as well take my third base first. Looking down here, here comes down the Forge after the Nexus. The Overlord is going to see the timings though, and is going to know that it was Nexus first, but Revival could have assumed that anyway, just from how things were going down, so that's fine. The second pylon there now, and looking up for Revival, no gas yet, not likely to see any gas for a while. He should get his natural base down in about the next minute. He's got 2 Zerglings coming out just to deal with this probe, so he's putting everything together. He's getting the build going precisely as he would want to, and as a result, this should be a fairly straight up game. The gateway now there, and if we remember in game 1, CuteZerg chose to take a very quick third base, and I'll be interested to see if he chooses to do the same thing again. And the reason this map caters itself to that is that you can get a complete wall off your natural, you can then knock off these rocks, build some gateways here, and actually have quite a nice tight little choke, which is easy to defend with force fields, and as a result you may be able to get some good forces out from a 3 base Protoss, which of course can build anything and everything they like. So maybe we'll see CuteZerg do that again, we'll wait and see, but for the moment, Revival getting down his natural base. He's up to 3 bases now, came down to pretty much bang on 4 minutes 20, which is to be expected. The Cyber Core now on its way. The first 2 gas only just coming out now for CuteZerg, and if you remember in game 1, he actually got those gases out a bit sooner, just to allow the fact for the Warp Gate tech and the +1 weapons to start at basically as soon as the Cyber Core finished. So will be interesting to see. He should get enough to do that again now. So a similar build at the moment, which is to be expected. The only difference was that it was a Nexus first rather than a Forge first, purely because he felt safer on this map. So that is all good news. Down here though, Revival, he's droning. He's got 2 Zerglings on the field, holding the 2 watchtowers with them, which is a great idea to do. Make sure everybody you do that, because watchtowers are great, and all in all, I'd be quite happy if I was Revival for the moment, because you know your opponent isn't going for anything too aggressive, and as a result, you can drone very heavily, as you see so many Zerg players do in this situation. Worth pointing out, this cannon placement for CuteZerg is actually great. The reason it's so great is because he can hit these destructible rocks, which allows him to take them out a little bit quicker, and also suggests that, hey, probably gonna be going for a quick third base. That's the only reason you want to weaken these rocks, because ultimately they'd just be another attack path into your base that you didn't necessarily want. And this, well, there was a robotics facility down here, I'm sure I saw that, but another one coming up there. The previous one was cancelled. I don't know if that was to hide the scout or something, but, well, we'll wait and see. But yeah, so far, Zealot getting taken out. That's the first loss of the game pretty much, so 3 Zerglings for 1 Zealot is always going to be a nice trade for you. We've got still a good number of hatcheries all just chilling around. We've got a good number of gas, just 2 there, so should see the 3rd and 4th shortly, I would imagine. No sign of speed or lair yet, which the first 100 gas is usually used for. There we go though, so just a slight delay on that. Meanwhile, these rocks are getting taken down. We've got a pylon here as well, another pylon here, so apparently lots of pylons are needed. The 3rd and 4th gas now for CuteZerg as well, and all in all, this Overlord is getting a little bit of scanning information. See the chrono boosts coming down on the robotics facility, but do I know what is coming out of it yet? Creep spread going okay, no dedicated creep spread queen as we saw in game 1 from Revival, so that's fine. He is now getting up his 3rd gas as well as his Roach 1, so Roach 1 at about 7 minutes 40. Because ultimately he didn't feel any aggression coming, he didn't get any scouting information that suggests he needs it earlier, but did he see this base come down? Yes, he has, so straight away some Zerglings streaming in here, and this may not actually kill anything, but it can force a lot of pressure, and may potentially force a cancel, assuming the CuteZerg wasn't able to get too much out. He is getting these additional gateways down now, and he has completed the wall off, it is natural, but it puts pressure on, which is a psychological effect. CuteZerg is going to know that there's Zerglings there, and is therefore got to pay some attention to make sure he doesn't lose this base. The photon cannon coming down, as well as some more gateways being added in. This robotics facility now being used to grab out an immortal, that's perfectly normal. Creep spread still going fine. The evolution chamber coming down, as well as the macro hatch. Speed nearly finished up, and look at this. Ventral sacks. We're going to be seeing Overlord drop tech, and that is always fun. Are we going to see roach drops? Are we going to see Bane Rain? We don't know yet. All we know for sure is that we do have roaches on the way. We do also have roach speed on its way, and no sign of a baning nest. That pretty much suggests that no, we will not be seeing Bane Rain, but instead roach drops, and that is fine because, as you can see, a big cliff area here, you can happily get into the main base and really start punishing things very quickly. A second observer on its way over after the first was killed. Speedlings are going to get the surround on this Stalker, or at least should do, and as a result we'll be able to pick it off quite comfortably. That is a good little win there. A Stalker for a handful of Zerglings is always going to be effective for you. 30 more Zerglings in production though, and this is actually gearing up to be quite a large push for Revival, and CuteZerg could be in some problems. +1 missile attack on its way down. We also have Blink coming down for CuteZerg, who yet again is teching quite heavily. We didn't see, if I recall, Blink coming down in game 1. We saw rather a quick tech up to the robotics bay and the double robotics facility to allow the Colossi count to get higher, but this time looking to go for a slightly different strategy. We do, of course, have Ventral Sacks now finishing up. We have Overlord Speed nearly finished, but the Overlords, where are they? They're on the way over. Come on, Overlords. This is the party you want to get to. The Observer is still sitting there, though, and of course Revival doesn't want to give it away too soon, and here comes Overlord Speed. It's about to kick in, and bang. There we go, all looking good. The macro hatch up with the queen injecting on it. So a macro hatch rather than a 4th base, that's fine. But look at this aggression coming in. There are 2 immortals there. Now a 3rd hitting the field as well. So with that, Ventral Sacks is going to be pretty essential. Is it going to be a multi-prong harassment, or is it going to be just a straight-on drop on top of the Protoss army? If the drop went down, it would clear it out quite quickly. The Stalker count isn't too high. Where are the Overlords going though? They're just coming over there. So perhaps Revival going to go in from a different angle. We will wait and see, but he's pulling back. He managed to pick off 1 gateway there. A handful of Zerglings did manage to get into the main base, but look at this. He's managed to shake the Observer, which is the important thing, because there's no vision of this going on at all for CuteZerg at the moment. Here's the load up. Straight away, a lot of units in here. It's going to go straight to the main, I almost guarantee it. And with such a push, that is going to hurt quite badly. And Revival, nearly 70, well, he is pretty much 70 supply ahead. Got some more Overlords running around, got more units streaming into the Overlords, but the Observer has now seen it. So, has Revival missed his window of opportunity? Maybe, but what's more likely is he'll just float it over anyway and drop on top to get a complete surround on all of CuteZerg's units. But he's got to be careful not to lose too many Overlords, because if he were to, that could run into some major problems. But Revival now maxed out pretty much on... No, not even pretty much, on Roachling. Nothing else. So it's a big Roachling push. In it all comes. In comes the aggression, and it's going to where nobody expected, which is the 3rd base. So just going to drop straight over. These Protoss units are not going to get in there quite in time, but overcome all of the Overlords. And we're going to start seeing the dropping units out any second now. Got to be careful not to lose the Overlords too quickly, but out come the units. And this is going to be difficult to defend. CuteZerg does not have anywhere near the same amount of army. Immortals are getting trapped. Force fields are going down everywhere, but they're no good when, of course, the army is being dropped straight on top of you. 3 of these Immortals out of position, unable to come and deal with the majority of Revival's force, and as we can see, huge amounts of damage being done here by Revival, who's remaxing out on nothing but roaches. We've got the Dark Shrine on its way for CuteZerg, which is good. It's the only thing he can really do. He knows he's going to come out behind after this, so if behind Dark Shrine, Revival pulling back for the moment, waiting for those reinforcements, Did he manage to do much damage to the worker line? No, he didn't. That is the only trouble. He did a lot of damage to the units, but not much to the workers. There are 3 Immortals still up as well, which is going to mean the Roachling isn't going to be as effective as it may have been earlier. The Observer coming back out to try and get some good scanning information. We've got the second robotics facility somewhere getting produced. I'm not quite sure where. There we go. The Colossus on the field, of course, now as well. That's going to help deal with this. But the Observer, where are you? The Observer just trailing all those Overlords, being like, I know what you're doing. I can position my army, ready to prepare for this. The Stalker count low though, only 5, but there are 3 Dark Templar on the field. I'm not quite sure where they warped in. They must be in with the main army, and that indeed they are. And with those Dark Templar rather, there's no detection, so they can deal a lot of damage without the detection, which could pose Revival a problem. But to be honest, if they were counter-attacking, it would be more effective. So that looks like what we're going to see now. Revival maxed out yet again, loading up for another complete drop. CuteZerg at 130 supply to the 200 effectively over Revival, so 70 supply inferior. And he does also have a higher worker count slightly, so nearly over double the army for Revival of that of CuteZerg. And yet again, it looks like Revival is going to, well, he's going to come straight into the main base for the moment with some roaches going down to the third. Drops coming down everywhere. The Colossus is going to be the target most likely. A lot of focus fire should start going down on that. But for the moment, the Immortals are getting focused. We do have more roaches coming in. And of course, the third base is under siege as well. The Immortal count are pretty high. 4 remaining even after 1 has died. The Dark Templar doing a great job being able to hold this off. And CuteZerg has now taken the supply lead. He's managed to deny this 4th base by using the Dark Templar, and there's the GG from Revival, who just did have no, well, he had no detection and couldn't deal with the Dark Templar, which did so much damage in that engagement. So great play by CuteZerg, and has leveled up this series 1-1. So we're going on to game 3, everyone. If you did like the video, make sure you like the video, leave a cool comment and subscribe. I'll catch you at game 3 any second. Bye for now.